with then the alternative of like Caitlyn, Lucian on the side of Inferno.
Right, okay, so we're jumping back into Champion Select, and we're just going to jump through the bans real quick and get back to where we were just before that cut-off.
Yeah, there was a little bug there. Chu Yu's champion didn't lock in for him, so didn't want it to random and then have to, deal with that one. But luckily it did lock in for us, so we will fly through the picks and bans and get ourselves back up to speed here.
Yeah, I mean, he could have waited. It might have randomed into the right champion, which could have happened.
That's some pretty big numbers
RNG.
if you're looking for the RNG.
how we entered this tournament. It's just going to random all our champions. Could get the same composition out of that.
Okay, so they did lock in Mundo in the previous rounds. They are hovering now over Renekton,
okay.
Although I don't think they can do that, as they did lock Mundo in. It was Chu Yu's trying to decide who he wants. They did have Jinx, so I wonder whether they will stick with that. I think that would be a very good pick here. They're looking for their options are jungle, AD, or support. I think here a Jinx is a priority pick for them. That is a champion that will do very well for them and is difficult to counteract. You can't really hard counter a Jinx that well, or pretty much most AD carries, as most of them fulfill the same role. So, it's very difficult to hard counter that. So picking a Jinx here is actually a very good pick.
Yeah, it's actually pretty difficult to start picking those unconventional supports that you were talking about before, Stress. You can't just pick a Galio into it and just expect it to do okay, because you pick these utility supports out like Karma, like Galio, who do more in the mid-game and late game, but don't necessarily offer anything to the laning phase, and Jinx will punish that, especially if you pick something like an Annie, a very aggressive support, and something that you won't really be able to bring out. Something else we've seen is Sivir. Sivir and Karma, in fact. They can just clear out those ways, allows Karma to land that harassment that she wouldn't usually. But we're not going to see any of those unconventional picks. More of the convention, which is going to be that fresh. Well, hovering over it at least.
Okay, so they did lock Renekton in and haven't gone back to the lobby. So it looks like the Jinx wasn't the right pick.
Right.
Which, is... Obviously, they didn't feel like picking their AD carry at this point in picks and bans was quite what they were going for. But they are hovering over Thresh here for Inferno. Will they lock that one in? I think Annie is available. I think Annie's been prioritized a lot over Thresh, just because of that engage potential that an Annie has. But we are counting down the timer on this one. They will lock in. I think, I was going to say, this is one of the options that has come back in towards that top lane is Malphite, and they're going to change it to Trundle right at the end. They were two champions that I was going to talk about at some point today anyway. Trundle into Renekton is still kind of solid, but isn't as good a lane as you'd expect it to be against a Shyvana or a Dr. Mundo, because normally likes to draw away those resistances with the Subjugate, which Renekton does obviously have a lot of resistance, but Renekton's more recently have been building a lot more damage, so they have a little bit more sustain against Trundle, and they don't quite get as affected as much by Subjugate. Renekton also is just a very strong in lane.
Yeah, and plus the Tiamat will offer extra early regeneration. You're going to get the rejuvenation beat. He can't push you out. And then when you get the Tiamat, after he hard engages on you, then you can just start revamping up. And that's basically how Trundle operates in the top lane. He'll look towards trying to poke you down and then just all-inning you within that 4 seconds of Subjugate. And then if that doesn't work out, then to go back to farming. And if he doesn't poke you down to that stage, then he's never going to hard engage. And with that extra regeneration from Tiamat, then Renekton's never ever going to hit that point.
Yeah, I think Odo Amno was actually saying that he doesn't even use Subjugate unless he desperately needs to until he's traded and when the both of them are under half health. And at that point, he hits that extra regeneration and starts really just flying back up on his health or taking it away from his opponent. Annie Lucian has been locked in. That's something that has been consistent since October. Since the release of Lucian, actually, has been just incredibly consistent in lane. And now, will we see the Draven locked in? We saw I'm a Cutie Pie bring Draven back into the North American meta over in NALCS last week in their games. Will we see them pick this up alongside that Thresh? That's quite a lot of damage in a Thresh Draven lane.
Yeah, it is. We saw the Koreans actually pick up Draven a couple weeks before that, before it went into NA. And Draven has basically become an AD carry who's become better because all the AD carries have gotten worse. So he's just come back into the meta. He still deals a huge amount of damage. His passive now, instead of that bleed, is now extra gold. Is always going to be that base of 50 extra gold. So if he gets those early kills, he's going to snowball way harder. And I think by 5 or 6 minutes, you can get enough adoration stacks. Whereas if you get a kill, you're basically getting a double kill's worth in gold.
Yeah, it's one of those things that people have realized with the advent of more gold all around in the lanes, in the jungle, and everywhere. Having even more gold from a passive is even better. It's one of those things that gold helps you win games.
It does. I mean, at Insomnia 50, I believe we saw Farmer Ash.
No, let's not go there. That's
all those gold items, that gold.
It's not quite the same.
It is. I mean, that Ash had like 17,000 gold, the same as the most fed member on that team.
But I don't think it quite matches up to how Draven will work in this lane. The Draven Thresh lane, really they've got to be careful when they're getting their picks, because the problem is Annie can just engage from so far away around level 6. Annie did have adjustments to her kit, so will have reduced levels of stun earlier in the game, which makes it a little less potent since the recent patch, but Thresh is going to be always as potent. Because Death Sentence lands into Flay, and you've just got a brilliant engage tool in those 2v2 situations. 3v3s is becoming more apparent in the bottom lane here in the current meta as well. There's been so much focus now that when you have consistent mid laners that are fairly difficult to gank, such as Ziggs, such as Gragas, they both have escape tools. Ziggs is a little bit more difficult to use. And with top laners that just sit there and farm all day, the jungler is only going to go to the AD carries.
Yeah.
And that's where you see the early game little skirmishes in the bottom lane, which ends up opening the Dragon Pit. And Dragon has become such a more important objective across the map. In the early game, it's had slightly reduced gold, but with the increase of armor on the top towers and the mid towers, it really means that they're more difficult to push. Dragon becomes slightly easier to achieve if you can get those fights as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And because of the changes to towers that we haven't spoken about yet as well, basically because the top and middle towers now have like a super Doran shield of the extra damage reduction, it's actually 20 all the way through the game on those outer turrets. It makes lane swap-ups less tempting for these players, so they can't just 2v1 and push someone out of lane. So top laners like Nasus, we might see more and more of that. We did see Zion Spartan run a lot of Nasus by going for like a defensive item first against that lane, which will prioritize, and then go into Trinity Force after that. We might see more of those picks who can survive the top lane, because it's more unlikely we'll see the lane swap-ups now.
Yeah, I mean, there are teams still doing lane swaps in the 2v1 lanes, and they have been fairly successful as well, but it is noticeably slower. You do require a champion that is a lot better at pushing, so Caitlyn is incredibly good in a meta where the bottom lane turret is actually the weakest, because of her range, because of her attack damage, is just so good at pushing turrets. Neither team has picked up Caitlyn for this. They've got considerably shorter range champions here with Lucian and Draven, you know, particularly not known for their range of auto attack, but they do have good pushing potential between the two of them as well, because as soon as you get the culling, if your lane opponents leave lane, you can just burst the culling onto a minion wave. You know, it's not quite where you'd like to use it. You'd more like to use it in a team fight or 3v3 skirmish to make sure you get that massive damage from the culling, but you know, it has a lot of utility there for pushing as well.
Yeah, I mean, typically in the early game, that's where the culling will go, because it does very little damage until you start itemizing the Bloodthirster. But we do see a lot of Lucians looking for the Trinity Force first, just for the extra trading potential. It's more reliable in trades, but the culling won't do any damage until like 30 minutes or until you get level 16. So something I've noticed from the team of MYM is they're running 2 smites. They're running one on Renekton and one on Mundo. And obviously Makata is going to be their jungler. He's always a jungler. I don't think they're going to swap up for this event. And Kubon is playing Renekton.
That's a little bit different to me. We'll see how they use that in this game. You know, double jungle is not something that the competitive scene has really seen that much.
At all.
Because of just how much more consistent having one jungler is.
Yeah.
We'll see whether that's for any kind of tricky plays. This is times like this where these teams might be running something in practices that unfortunately we don't have the privilege of being able to drop into every team's practice games. So I don't know. It could be a mistake. It could also be a strat. They may be planning on some aggressive engage, because what we have seen actually when doing lane swaps is that the top laner will actually go for an invade with the duo bot onto the enemy blue buff,
right?
And that kind of offsets that experience, because your top laner ends up getting the experience from the blue buff.
Yeah.
Your bottom lane go to your lane, and then rather than roaming around the smaller jungle camps and getting experience that way, it's a lot more of a consistent way. When the top laner then goes back to lane, they only require one minion to level up to level 2. So it could be a unique play on that to make sure they get that buff quicker.
Right, and if they go for the lane swap, they might go for the 1 versus 2, and they can use that smite to smite down the cannon minion. That's actually something we've seen before as well, where you just mitigate that pushing potential. It means that generally you can't, as that solo laner, get anywhere near the minion line, but as long as you can eliminate the cannon creep, then you stop the big push, because typically teams will try and get their jungler down there for the 3-man push versus 1 when you have that cannon creep there, but if you just take it away, then that might be something to look for. I think
there's also a little problem here with going up against a Trundle. If they do decide to put him in a 1v1 situation against Trundle, without that ignite to reduce the healing effects and the self-regeneration, it's going to be incredibly difficult to handle that lane.
Okay, so we will be jumping into game and right into a pause because it is classic League of Legends online tournament. This is exactly what happens every single time.
Even in LCS.
Even in LCS,
absolutely. This happens.
But, well, I would introduce Inferno and MYM, but... Well,
okay, it looks like you're stuck with us for a little bit longer, guys. But hopefully these teams will have sorted it out, as it does look like Chuyu was a little bit late into that game, so maybe having a couple of connection issues on his side is... it's the first game of the day. It wouldn't be the first game of the day without a couple of connection issues from our players.
Wouldn't be an online tournament without it. Wouldn't be a League of Legends tournament without tech issues. But
well, at least it's not World Finals where, you had 8 to 10 hours of tech issues. Luckily, we're not at that point. So,
but we are in EU West. So.
Oh dear, that's another topic for another day. But yes, that could become problematic. But we are, of course, in our lovely FACEIT studios, as you can see, is just surrounded by so much awesome stuff.
Yeah, and new stress.
No, not. It's too early in the day for that. It's too early.
Well, actually, not too close together. We were accused at some events of being a little bit too close.
He means distance-wise.
Yeah, we've had some other jokes which can't be read out on cast, but...
Dear, freak version 2 over here.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
The awkward. But no, we are in a pause here for game number 1. So again, this is a good time to be getting on the social media, getting on, making sure you're on the FACEIT platform as well, to make sure you're sorting things out for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
For all of our coverage here.
And this is actually Inferno Esports up against MYM, who did replace Pulse Esports, who were unable to play today because they were playing the Coca-Cola League yesterday night. So, a bit of a tight schedule. But Inferno, I'm sure they'll do a very good job against a bit of a different type of team composition. Double jungle, Mundo and Renekton.
Yeah, I still... I don't see that it's going to be a straight-up double jungle.
Yeah, I feel it has other utility.
Renekton isn't exactly the most known jungle champion as it is.
We saw Shock in Season 2. I think we run that once.
People keep trying to play Renekton in different places. Yeah. I think it was Shifter from Coast. Used to play Wizard Lizard, so mid lane Renekton. And apparently that was quite strong in Season 3 at one point, but never actually brought it to a competitive level. I do have a feeling it'll be a little bit more to do with that jungle pressure that you can really apply in the early game. We are back into game, so that means we can get things underway here for the first best of 3 for the FACEIT Challenger Invitational.
Outstanding. So all these guys will just be going into lanes, or in the case of Renekton, maybe not going into his lane, just going somewhere else. Let's see exactly what these guys use. And because they are running 2 smites, I would be surprised if they didn't try and make use of that in some way in this level 1.
Yeah, that would it would really be a bit of an oversight if they don't decide to do that. And they are heading for their respective lanes, so there might be something that I've missed here. But if we can start talking about how this is going to work, I'm really trying to figure things out.
Absolutely. So right now, everyone's just going for a more defensive formation. Vans is just sitting up in the top. Going to try and cut off Renekton as he heads up on there. So right now, Chuyu just hanging around the mid lane and no real aggression from MYM.
Yeah, it's very strange if they do decide to go for these 1v1s. Again, I don't know whether we're missing something here on this Smite pickup, but I mean, they did change the summoner icons recently.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Maybe they just got confused on what spells they were actually running. 2 barriers going to be run on the team of MYM. So, taking a look at the early builds, Coin going to be picked up by Fresh right here in response to the support item of another Doran Shield. They are actually out of place at the moment, guys. We will be trying to swap those up very soon. So, these guys just sitting in the jungle. And again, no aggression from MYM. See exactly what they pull out here. So ping's coming down along the map. See if they go for this delayed invade, but doesn't seem like that's the case just yet. So as per normal, we're going to be seeing the ward trinkets go down by all of these guys. And Kubon actually heading around the side, so they are going to try and make use of this early smite, something that we don't really see too much. Makata coming in from the bot side as well, seeing if they can take away this smite. Bonnie and Keela zoning away the Makata, but can't quite see what a Renekton's doing on that Lee Sin, or whether he took it or not. We'll have to see that in a minute, Stress.
Yeah, I still am a little bit surprised on this opening.
Well, they went for the...
yeah, they did go for that invade. It just seemed very delayed there. As, it looks like neither smite was actually used. Makata's only just used his. Kubon did actually keep his as well, so it looks like Makata gets dropped very low in his jungle as well.
Yeah, and Aki was actually going to be the one who's trying to counter jungle the two junglers, and it looks like they are just going to walk for the jungle together. Partners in crime. Yeah,
this is very unique. As we said, it's one of those times where we're seeing the top laners go through the jungle and make sure that you know, they're getting the experience in these 2v1s, and I'm a little bit surprised to see this 2v1 right now, because we did have that the adjustment to the tower health.
Yeah.
And neither team has picked a particularly fast pushing champion here. So it's not even like, you know, MYM are going to be having a good top lane here.
But they are going to find themselves Vanez in the jungle. Aguilar just trying to defend his red buff at this stage. And something else I realized, because of this lane swap up Stress, they didn't have anyone in the bottom lane. Kubon's finally come back after just wandering around the jungle for a little while.
And this is what I was kind of alluding to, was the fact that Kubon has just hit level 2 off that creep, but his turret's already taken about a quarter of the health off it already. Yeah. And that bottom lane turret is the weakest turret on the map for your team. So the ability to push that in has already been proven here by Inferno, and as soon as they get the damage on this turret down, they can draw their jungler to the bottom lane and nobody will be able to react for the dragon. A byproduct of having 2 smites, though, means you get 2 chances at a dragon steal.
Yeah, and indeed the Baron as we get into that stage of the game. But I would expect to see Makata at least try and help his bot laner instead of... Maybe they're just trying to concede that. But Dr. Matt dropped incredibly low in the middle lane, which is to be expected in a Ziggs and Gragas matchup. It's not a matchup that really favors the Gragas up until about level 6, so he will be pushed up to his tower. He will be poked every time he goes for that CS.
Yeah, you can see there's already a slight CS difference, but as you said, as soon as he hits level 6, as soon as he gets his first blue buff as well, he'll be able to farm a lot easier in that lane. There's a lot more pressure on the Gragas. You can see Inferno trading in that bottom lane. I'm not used to seeing the INF tag.
Yeah, it's very similar. I can see how you're making that mistake. But in fact, Mundo just not actually going to help his bot lane. He's actually out of HP. I was going to say mana, but of course not a champion who utilizes that resource. So going to be heading back into the bottom lane, which is expected. They could also try and just try and concede this turret. Lee Sin also heading out. Flay will land. This is the canyon wave which we were talking about before. They're going to try and make this 3-man push. And Renekton just has to leave it because Mundo isn't there in time.
Yeah, and there's going to be no response here if they did decide to go for Dragon. They are around the area, but right now the damage is just so low on the 2 champions that really it's so difficult to fight a 3v2. Now, there is one byproduct of this 2v1 that is working out in MYM's favor, and Annie is amazing at zoning out a melee champion like Trundle for the laning phase. You can already see Libic with the passive stun charge will land Incinerate.
Yeah, they're going to go for this tower dive. The Contaminate goes onto the floor. That's the wrong season. But Mackler going to head on to this one. Doesn't quite land all the damage. Takes so many tower shots. Libic dropped very, very low. Last auto attack from that cannon minion. And he might easily pick up a double kill if they choose to stay around. Again, the damage juggle comes out from the dragon area. And that's going to be Inferno picking up the first.
And that's a really botched trade by MYM there. They needed to shove that massive wave into the turret and at least deter Trundle from staying as Dr. Mundo joins the wave. Trundle managed to get a good few minions off the wave, and MYM is still low and are in danger.
Yeah, the pillar comes up, and they just have to evacuate. Mokato has come up, but they weren't able to get that kill. They couldn't go for the rotation that they wanted with the 3-man push in the top lane, so they lose the dragon, they lose the bot tower, and they have no response.
Yeah, they haven't been able to push, and the whole point of doing that 2v1 is that you offset the giving away dragon and giving away the tower by taking 2 towers on your own, but they just didn't have the damage or presence to be able to do it. They spent so long zoning and building up the wave while Kubon wasn't in lane in the bottom lane, and yes, he got some CS off that. Yes, he's got a good place to farm now with that tower being down, so it can extend his lead, but the global gold overall is in favor of Inferno.
Yeah, I mean, Inferno had a couple different options there. They could have just rotated, or they could just stayed at the bottom lane and carried on pushing, because there was nothing Renekton could have done. That would have completely removed Makata from the map, because he would have had to stay at the bottom lane, or at least to do some sort of pressure. Lip is going to be pulled back into them. Doubt they'll go for the full-on tower dive, especially with Lucian heading back up, but Lee Sin is heading around the side. I think he just passed over the ward before it expired.
Yeah, they will know about that one, so it looks like he actually saw the ward timeout, so won't decide to go aggressive there. But that's allowed this swap up back up into the top lane here for the Inferno duo. So that's going to kind of shove in MYM into their turret once again, and is going to stall them out. There was no presence on Dragon, but in mid.
Yeah, we're gone for that guy, Conchu. Flash is going to be expended, and on the bot lane, I mean, Kuban does have a massive advantage versus Vanyas because he has only 8 CS versus 42.
Yeah, and that is going to become problematic here with the two going 1v1 in that bottom lane. There's no dragon around, so there's no reason for junglers to be around there. So it just means that Kuban is going to be able to push in Trundle again and again.
Yeah, absolutely. So as long as they can ride that advantage, but that's the only advantage that really MeetYourMakers has on this map right now. Top tower will be able to keep itself alive. Macro and Libic are going to make sure that one happens. Mundo is not really doing too much. Makana is sitting on that Mundo jungle, which is, again, not something we see all too often. Usually the Mundo pick is residing in the top lane, but at the moment he's not counter jungling. He's just kind of farming up.
Yeah, he is farming up, does have a very small lead, about a camp up on Lee Sin, but Agua has had a lot more impact on this game.
Yeah, Dr. Matt gonna just head around the side. Makana just gonna zone these guys away, trying to pick up that ping ward. They know exactly where it is, and it's on 1 hit point, so someone just needs to wander up and hit that with an auto attack. But everyone's gonna jump back to laning phase.
Agua hadn't hit level 6 there either, so they didn't want to trade against a Mundo that did have sadism, because he's so difficult to kill. If you can't disrupt him in any way and really just start putting out more damage to him, it's going to be incredibly difficult to kill him.
Yeah, I mean, Mundo's one of those champions who needs itemization to be really effective, and it's just a matter of how much is he going to get from the jungle, especially since a lot of these lanes aren't great for ganking. He's going to give top lane a go, but it's going to be that Annie at level 5, and they are very close to that level 6 for the Flash Tibbers if they want to go for it. And Bonnie and Keela might be in bad shape, just waiting for this ding.
Yeah, Annie is about 1 or 2 minions away. Makata will head into the lane. They land Incinerate.
They're going to go and try it, but they weren't there in time. Makler actually gets hooked. The turnaround comes in. First blood comes out. Lee Sin will be picking that one up. Bonnie follows up onto Livic, surely picking the next one. In fact, just walks into the wall of the box, donating that to Keela. And now Makata has nowhere really to run. Flashes out. Just trying to not give this to Lee Sin, but I don't think he's going anywhere. Dr. Man comes in to make sure he goes down. Adoration stacks, and that's a very happy Inferno.
It's too early in the morning for MYM. They went in engaged without Tibbers available, and he was 1 million away. Sadism got popped by Mundo to initiate that fight from behind. And you can see the effect of those early nerfs on Annie. Incinerate just didn't stun them for long enough for Makata to get into that fight. And they really ended up suffering from it because Death Sentence landed, nobody was able to peel for Lucian, and that backfires on MYM again.
Yeah, like they saw Makler hit level 6. It was like, all right, guys, we've got the culling. So now we can just engage. Libic has jumped back on Tequila, but I mean, Makler, he just wants to carry on farming this one out. They're behind in a Lucian lane, which is something you don't generally expect. The jungler's behind. He doesn't have good gank lanes, and Inferno are just looking great in this game.
It's so incredibly rare for a team to actually go against their favor in a 1v2, in a 2v1.
Yeah.
Normally you expect both 2v1 lanes to really... Trundle just survived through their gank early, and it's really affected MYM all over. 30 CS is the difference here on the AD carries, and with a kill on top of that for Draven, that's going to allow Draven to start really itemizing in this game. Yeah,
and we were actually thinking, okay, so maybe Renekton can do something about that, but Renekton Trundle was a lane which really doesn't do much anyway, and he wasn't able to put down the pressure, even level 6 to level 4 like we saw before. And Vanyas has just been taking the last couple of minutes to farm it out, has started to equalize the lane again, and not too much is happening. And a slower game is one that will benefit Inferno.
It will indeed. Now, talking about that Renekton Trundle lane, you can see Trundle is already starting to itemize in the magic resist. That's going to reduce a lot of the damage that will come from the Sunfire Cape that looks to be the way that Renekton will be building here, has picked up that Giant's Belt already. And also, I believe the Dominus will have a lot of damage reduced there by that magic resist. However, Agua in the middle lane.
Yeah, we've got to look for this guy. Vani has also come in from the bottom lane. Chuyu not in good shape. Mega Inferno Bomb comes across, lands on all three, but that's going to walk away, see if they can reclaim another kill. But this is Inferno 4-0.
Inferno are rotating incredibly well. Dragon has just come up as well. And this is what we're seeing out of challenger teams, is their rotations, which is one of the most difficult things about competitive League of Legends, is being in the right place at the right time. It's just something that we're seeing increase again and again with extra competition in the Challenger Series.
Yeah, I mean, in LCS, sometimes it seems uncanny, but it's just one of those mechanical things that you just get a feeling for. And this is exactly what Inferno is doing heading into this tournament against MYM, a previous LCS team, Polish powerhouses who have looked so strong in basically every tournament they've been in terms of Challenger.
And it's incredibly rare for them to give away 2 dragons by the 12-minute mark. That's also just an accomplishment in its own right.
Yeah.
That's pretty much, as soon as you've had the chance to, you've picked it up.
That's a 4.5k advantage, and, well, Tibbers went down and definitely took some minions, but not the lives of the top laners. They just seem off form.
You can see the difference in itemization here in this duo bot lanes. You look on the side of Draven Thresh, Sightstone is completed, they've already got the Ancient Coin, so they're already on the way to building Talisman Ascension. Draven has a Bloodthirster already, whereas it's Berserker's Greave Vamp Scepter onto Lucian, and only a Ruby Crystal alongside that Doran Shield and Boots on Annie. That is not a good position to be in.
The builds are looking very bare, and so is Macra in the top lane. Ignite is ticking down. Incinerate comes across, will be stunning that top laner. Tibbers is still on the field, and Macra and Libic dropped so incredibly low. But that just shows Inferno can engage whenever they want.
And Inferno just have so much damage. It's not even the itemization. As soon as you hit the spinning axes with Draven, your damage spikes. And in these fights, they're just able to juggle the axes again and again and use the Whirling Death when it's available to maximize their damage.
Yeah. Now, Bonnie's going to clear this one out with those spinning axes. We're just going to try and seek this tower in. Mundo's going to be reacting, but we'll see how much he can do about that. So finally, Kuban has used, well, not necessarily the advantage, but the fact that his tower is not allowed to do something. Makana gets death sentence, flayed back into that Draven. Again, the adoration will be popped.
And you can see MYM don't even want to engage here. Tibber's not available, and that was a 3v2 in their favor. They had the side bush warded, and now Inferno look like they want to chase this one down.
Yeah, their top lane doing incredibly well, and Mundo can't go up there. He's just not tanky enough, doesn't have the itemization, which is a problem we were maybe thinking about. The fact that he's in the jungle, he won't have the same amount of gold. Kuban going toe-to-toe with Vanyard, and now Chuyu has come in for some fun. Doesn't look like he's going to try and get out. He's going to flash over the wall, followed by Kuban. I believe he also, in fact, he didn't flash over him, so he will still have that summon. And Makla gets hooked again. Relentless pursuit out of the way. Agua comes over the wall. Will be following up. Gets the kill with an auto attack. Livic is completely pinned down. Makana just comes in to see what he can do, but finds himself with Lee Sin. Down to 40% HP.
Inferno are just getting massive amounts of damage down all across the board. There's no way that MYM can trade with him. And Inferno are already looking on top form here, bringing Lee Sin over the wall with the Lantern and then following up the damage for the kills. That's a massive lead here that Inferno have. It's nearly 9,000 gold, 7 kills to 0.
This is already snowballing out of control, and we said that Draven is a champion with those changes to his passive, which can just snowball a game stress.
Yeah, and the one saving grace that MYM have right now is that Chuyu has been farming fairly well. He's at 157. He's the most farmed champion in the game, and we've seen how much damage Ziggs can output, but the problem is Ziggs can only output so much damage as his cooldowns aren't exactly the shortest. It relies on the Mega Inferno Bomb for quite a lot of that damage in team fights as well.
Yeah, so, well, going to go to a more passive stage in the game with MYM just trying to pick up the pieces. Kuban is still able to trade against Trundle, but it's going to get to the point where Trundle will just carry on auto-attacking. If this goes to Subjugate, this is exactly what happens in any trade. Meanwhile, Agua are going to find himself Chuyu. Mega Inferno Bomb comes down, picks up 1 kill, their first kill of the game. Chuyu barrier comes out. Bonnie doesn't land, he has to auto-attack, but he's found himself Makana instead. There's another kill to go down.
Oh my goodness, the last Whisper damage as well. Libic is in danger, won't survive through this one. You can see how much difference the damage here on the AD AD carries is, and the bottom lane fight's still going
They're
on.
still going after all that's happened in the top side of the map. The flash over the pillar. He should be able to pick up this kill. Kuban lands the call to me.
And the problem in that bottom lane fight was Vanes used Subjugate far too early. He really wants to use that when Kuban pops Dominus, because that's when he'll maximize the amount of health he'll steal away and the extra regen that he'll get. That is when you want to end up using it, and it's one of the reasons why Renekton actually does fairly well against Trundle. You see, MYM did pick up their first turret of the game there. Is unlike most other champions that Trundle will be picked against, Renekton relies a lot on health rather than resistances from his innate, his champion stats. Yeah, his Renekton. He gets extra health, not extra resistances. Yeah. So you're able to sustain quite well through using Kolomeek. If you're in minions in an advantageous position, there's a lot of ways that you can regen your health as well as Trundle.
Yeah, and that's typically why Trundle isn't picked into Renekton. We saw Trundle come into the meta because of Mundo and Shyvana, but that's what happens when you first pick a Trundle beforehand. It's like, well, okay, Renekton. Yeah, it just works in any of those matchups.
Yeah, it's certainly a difficult matchup to play on the Trundle side of things, as you really have to use Subjugate at the best possible time, which is when you've got Renekton already low and he doesn't have Dominus available. But we see Vanes has rotated back up towards that top lane, as they have realized that with Dragon coming up in 30 seconds, they want their duo lane down in the bottom half of the map to make sure they can maximize their effect there and take it away quickly.
Chuyu has found himself caught by Dr. Mad. Doesn't even need the aid of aggro. He was trying to jump over the wall for the assist, but that's the scary burst from a level 12 Dr. Mad.
And that right there is good timing here for Inferno. With Dragon coming up and a member still in the death chamber here until after Dragon has spawned, that's going to be a good sign for Inferno to fight this.
Yeah, Libic actually stole away the Raper with with Q, but this is going to be another Drake going away to the team of Inferno, and there's very little that the team of MeetYourMakers can do about it. They just can't go toe-to-toe and fight with these guys.
And it's kind of surprising that we've seen the 2 smites here picked up by MYM, and they've had 3 uncontested Dragons go away from them.
And again, another hook lands onto Libic. Healer has been picking up so many kills for his team.
And that really just brings the lead to 10,000 gold here between these two teams. 4 towers to 0. Of course, sorry, I did say earlier that MYM picked up a turret. They indeed didn't pick up a turret. It was another turret for Inferno. And it looks like Inferno want to push on for another.
I think it's just you kind of expect a turret to go down by MYM by this point, but in fact it isn't. And the middle inner turret is being sieged in, and it doesn't look like MeetYourMakers are got a react in time. They just can't get to the middle lane. And now Inferno, well, they got to just carry on pushing.
There's no way they can take these fights. They don't have enough resistance or health to survive through the massive damage that Draven is going to be bringing here. And Gragas, as Gragas does, has a needlessly large rod, which is going to burst people down incredibly quickly with the explosive cast.
Yeah, already well on his way to that death cap, which is a fairly standard build. Most mid laners will go for the Infiends and Holy Grail into the death cap, and that's definitely the same for Gragas, Ziggs, Orianna, and most of the mid lanes at the moment. Keeler lands another hook onto Makler, absolutely on point this game. Mega Inferno Bomb comes down. That's his only contribution to this fight. 2 members of MeetYourMakers have already dropped. There's Free, and Mokata has finally just wandered into this fight. Kuban is still just trying to run away from that back line. He's usually the predator, but he is the hunted. Mokata has to run away from that ward.
That's just incredible hooks here out of Keeler. It's just so consistent. They're not the flashiest hooks. They're not, you know, Mad Life hooking people by preempting the flash, but a 20-minute surrender here by MYM, and an incredibly consistent performance here out of Inferno Esports for a little bit of an upset to begin our day here at the FACEIT Invitational.
Yeah, definitely unexpected stress. MeetYourMakers definitely one of the favorites against many of these teams already, maybe going with a composition which was less than optimal. The double smite, maybe going for something more conventional in the next game, because this is a best-of-3 format, but they will now have to win 2 games on the bounce, which is a big ask.
It is, and especially after you lose the first one with the 20-minute surrender, you really just have to reset yourselves, reset mentality, and make sure that you're in control for the rest of the game. So I believe we're going to head to a break before we get into game number 2, but we'll be back in just a few minutes with MYM versus Inferno Esports game.